Hello, my friends. It's episode 151 of
Hey?
the Endless End Sequence. I hope that this is...
Hey?
Well, you know, it's a bit weird to say I hope that this is the last episode, but, you know... I do feel like the game has actually outstayed its welcome slightly by this point.
Come now.
When you finish your business outside the palace, please promise me you'll return to resume your duties, Your Majesty. If you take this as my pressuring you not to venture out, that's not it at all. Only as the captain of the Royal Guard, I must know where your whereabouts at all times. Relax, Hulkenberg. You needn't be so serious, Hulkenberg. Lighten up, maybe. You mean to say I am too fussy? Well, it is only proper for the captain of the Royal Guard. To be over-familiar would set a poor example. Imagine the scandalized faces of the rank-and-file guard.
Of course.
That said, not a day goes by that I don't reflect on our travels, now only a year past. I owe regaining my pride as a knight to that journey. I was but a wanderer searching in vain for the prince, and it was though you had learned he yet lived. Wait. I learned? And it was through you I learned that he yet lived. There's a comma missing here, that's the problem. I guess the sentence could be slightly restructured. It's fine for, like, Old English, I suppose. And in the end, it was your ascent to the throne I supported.
So?
I never tire of the faces of the younger guards. I never tire of the faces the younger guards make when I tell them of the time you acted as witness to my duel. It sure brings back memories, not only of my duel, but the journey we undertook. You are the reason I could endure the fight to the end. Please say the knights of today are nothing like they were under old rats. Command. Soldiers take up their sword not for those in power, but for the people. As the champion of the people yourself, we will do all in our power to protect you, our king.
Well,
You do not make it easy by sneaking out of the palace as you do, though I suspect the soldiers are getting used to your chaotic tendencies. They know they protect not just a king, but a ruler who stands beside his people and hears their voices in clarion truth.
this I vow.
I will protect you with my life, as I have always endeavoured to do so, Your Majesty. Only let me stay by your side to do so.
What do you want to do?
Let us chat to more people. Oi, here's a mug I haven't forgotten. You're the king now, ain't you? First time I saw you was the night before the royal funeral, if I recall. No offence, but you didn't exactly look like a prince. Think you go and take on the notorious Louis and seize the crown for yourself. Couldn't make up such a story if I tried. Speaking of wild stories, can't you do something about Sunshade Row? Well, you know the rep old Sunshade Road has. Poor, dirty. The people still struggle to put food on the table here. Have been for a long time. You're a good bloke, and I think you'll make a fine king. Don't you think you can just spruce the place up a bit, and that will solve the problem? He doesn't mince words, but I'm glad he's being honest at least.
Hey?
It really doesn't look like much has changed here, does it? But then in a game that recycles assets so heavily,
You're not serious.
I guess you wouldn't expect much to have changed.
So, we meet again.
It's you. It's been quite some time, hasn't it? Ever since the new king's reign, matters have changed a great deal for the tribe's teachings. I feel there's been more people who wish to learn of our teachings and culture, much like you once did before. Wish I could say we were free to worship as we pleased, but that's a dream still among the clouds for the moment. And yet, being able to dream is evidence itself of progress. It is satisfying for now that more people are open-minded like you.
This is alright.
Aha! Still can't believe it, no matter how many times I see it. King walking out of the honeybee. The city's pretty much back to how it was compared to this time last year. If Louis had ended up king, who knows where we'd be now. There was that whole tournament nonsense. No one could keep their mouths shut while that was going on. As far as a damn fool like me was concerned, a lot of you might as well have just been telling the truth. You and Louis were just two sides of the same coin. Take no offense, will you? Not like I can tell a lie from the truth if I tried. Oh, we've got some linkage here.
Pleasure to see you.
Why, hello, Your Majesty. It's only been a year since your coronation, but I see you've come quite apt at sneaking away from your palatine duties. Under constant fire from knaves of all trades, con artists and critics alike, your opening act has been rather tumultuous, no? Oh, has it? I hadn't noticed. Ah, how kingly an answer. Never missing an opportunity to display how capable you are. Commendable. Besides, most of those agitators are the kind of scum that stirs the pot in hopes that they might benefit from a country's turmoil. Nothing I couldn't handle, of course, all in a day's work for the Royal Adjutant to the Citizens' Council. Quite an ally I've made, I should hope. I wonder if my mother would be the slightest bit proud to see who I've become. I'm doing my damnedest to use my talents for good, as I always should have.
Yes.
There's no doubt in my mind. I hope so. I was such a problem child, I'd like to make this country where honest folk like my mother can be
Now that
happy.
you mention it.
That reminds me, do you remember Dantrum, my hometown's landowner? He told me to send you his regards. He's since confessed his crimes and is awaiting trial. You were the one who awakened his conscience. Makes sense, doesn't it? You've proven your ideals to be true. That's why the country's doing so well. There's nothing more to it.
Thank you.
I'm hardly qualified to speak of pride, but if this country has one, it's you, and I am proud to be among its people. Perhaps under your rule the day will come that even we Nydia can walk about freely in our true forms. Would be funny to see his true form, actually. Chibi Alonso. Ah, you're curious what I look like in my true form? I'd be happy to oblige, but let's save that for another time, shall we? There'll be no other time.
This place has really changed.
Your Majesty, what are you doing in this wretched sinkhole of a... It may be better than it was before, but this is still Sunshade Row. It's no place for a king, Your Majesty. Fewer folks are hanging for nothing these days, and there's no shortage of knaves who will die at the end of a rope here. As long as there's injustice, there'll be people who thinks it gives them a free pass, which means there'll be gallows. Last year changed a lot, big and small. Hold my post here, hoping that next year's better rather than worse.
Really changed.
We're still executing people, are we?
This place.
Oi!
Corpses and people crouching next to them along Sunshade Road seems to be cleared out lately. Frightful thing, really. They seem terrified of something themselves. Made me anxious just to look at them. I do hope they're feeling like themselves again. It'd be nice to think they found their happiness somewhere out there. Oh, it's the boys. Hey, out inspecting again. Seems like a right pain to me, but I appreciate you going to all the effort.
Hey.
Making your rounds, Basilio? Yeah, captain of the Tradian Brigade reporting in, and I'm pleased to report that there's nothing to report, Your Majesty, so I'm taking a break. Bit of a mouthful in it. Still not used to calling myself a captain besides. You've even taken some survivors from Louis' troops, you know, but don't you worry. Got two eyes on them even when I ain't looking.
But
The way I see it, they weren't the ones trying to make the world worse. Just gotta show them how power is supposed to be used, yeah? We owe it to you that there's less discrimination in the city these days. Fewer and fewer return to a life of crime to make ends meet. If Del could see Gran Trad today, his eyes would bug out. Not just Del, a lot of the guys who didn't make it. I only wish they could have seen it for themselves. Yeah, same. But as long as we keep them in our memory, it's as close to saving them as we can get, Vinker included. We built this piece on rock and roll. No, sorry. We built this piece with a lot of blood and tears, so I say to those of us who made it this far, what? So I say, those of us who made it this far owe it to all of them what didn't to protect it. God, that sentence is a mouthful. I get it, and it's sort of, once again, it's one of these ones, it works in Old English, but structurally it's nightmarish. I'd hate to be an English as a second language person reading this. Maybe I got nothing to report today, but it's not like bad people just stop being bad because you're king now. You've been through a lot though, so thanks for not giving up on us, or the world for that matter. If you spot any trouble that I didn't spot first, you just point me at it, solve it quick like.
Oh.
Well, well, I see our king is out on some personal business, eh? I believe Hulkenberg was searching for you, but I suppose it's none of my business who comes or goes. I'm on break myself.
Just.
Only try not to frustrate your royal guards over much, hmm? They all take their duties quite seriously, much like their captain. Bah, who am I kidding? A knight who smiles is surely a myth. That's become clear to me since becoming titled. What could be more bizarre? A UG outcast, once wanted criminal with a bounty on his head, made knight commander. There was of course some opposition at first, but the more heart-to-heart talks I've had, the more accepting they've become, albeit gradually.
Right.
The world has only begun to change. Indeed, grand titles and posts across the nation are all held by all manner of tribes now, each contributing with their respective strengths. I've realized over the past year just how much a nation is defined by its people. No matter how great a king, he alone does not a country make.
However,
Yet he stands for those very people, as symbol and representative. That the king and those around him are of mixed tribes has already caused a great shift in sentiment, even for those in the rural villages.
Now that you mention it.
And just how is Tadari these days?
yes.
He seems as busy as he can handle now that they've resumed trade with other villages. Your coronation inspired that village to greater heights. It proved that barriers can be broken, and that even they could take the first step. New winds are blowing in every corner of this country, and I'll have to make another trip back home with my son to see the changes for myself soon enough. And someday I hope distant generations will grow up knowing conflict born of tribal differences from history books.
We shall.
We've a ways to go before that day comes, but until it does, let us forge the path towards it, Your Majesty. I'm going to presume that every linkage character is around somewhere.
Peace.
But not here. Actually, they're probably... Yeah, there we go. You can always just use the teleporter list. Well, let's wander around a little bit more, because there might be a few more bits and pieces.
Well, I sure don't want to
Oh, it's the boy. Wow, Elder, you really became king. Hey, king. Hey, king. Oh, king. Haha.
Oh, very nice.
You might be king, but nothing will change. You'll forget about me. You'll forget I was even here. Help, you say? You've been saying that a lot, haven't you? I've been watching you for a while, for a long time here in the corner of the city. I hate people who look, see a parapus like me with no place to go and pretend they see nothing. Don't forget that. Seems rumours of the king running about in Sunshade Road were true. Haha, I've no intention of prying now. Thanks to you besting Louis, I get to keep running my shop. Wasn't sure I could with the sky turning red there. Not sure we could take another war. Nothing in particular. Didn't say that because I think it'll happen. Just that nothing ever goes quite the way you think it will, eh? As long as people worry, people will want weapons. So I guess I'll be in business a good while longer.
All very nice.
Thank you.
Welcome.
My, if it isn't His Majesty, you always were partial to Sunshade Row, weren't you? I know you've hardly had a chance to warm that throne of yours, but people here are as poor as they've ever been. Money's the only way anyone gets out. It's big news that the Mage Academy was reopened to anyone, but think about it, only the rich can travel up a mountain. Sorry, I shouldn't talk your ear off about politics. There's a new year to ring in. Look forward to a more relaxing new year, without all the frantic work. Have a happy new year yourself, Your Majesty.
You're kidding.
Oi, it's been a while. You must remember me. I'm Sergeant Gelchum the Great. You're drunk as usual. Well, you see, that's the thing. End of year's been a perfect time for a flagon, eh? Then again, every day's a perfect time for a flagon. But you know, I've been trying to cut back, actually. When we lost Fidelio, God rest his soul, drink was the only thing that kept me from going mad.
I guess.
Certainly couldn't follow Louis after that, so leaving the Chardiers was sound, but still hard for a parapus to find decent work. Drinking my life away seemed the way to go. I assumed all of us from Louise's side who survived would have been sent straight to the gallows, but letting us join the brigade, well, it's real generous of you. Not sure I would have fitted anyone else, speaking plain. Us with old Basilio in charge, we're feeling right at home. Now I'm back to drinking for the fun of it. I owe it all to you, Your Majesty. You're alright. You're a parapus? It's actually very hard to see if there is a model under there.
Oi there.
Excuse me.
Under the current king, people are finally starting to question the discrimination against the inferior tribes, but tribal friction is deeply rooted in our society, so we got our work cut out for us. Is she elder? That's rare.
Oh. Say there.
All right then.
Okay.
Stupendous.
Hey, mister.
Even though Louis died, my dad still isn't happy because my mum died and she can't come back. You know, Mr. King, I've been cooking instead of my mum and I'm trying really hard. I'm happy to be with my dad, so next year I'm going to work harder than ever. My mum is watching me from the sky, isn't she? Just like your dad, Mr. King.
Stupendous.
Is he? He's not still up there, though. I'm going to presume that they landed the palace. I get shivers hearing stories from when the castle was floating in the sky. The place was teeming with crystals and monsters. It was no place for a man to enter, no sir. When I heard the palace came back down, all the monsters be dried out like they were statues made of dirt. Rebuilding the palace went faster than expected. I hear they've recouped some of the costs by selling the furnishings inside. Seems like a miracle, doesn't it? Guess so. Oh, it's another one of the Chandler's guys. Zenith, wow, you're the bastard who, well, it's been a while anyway. Bastard, was it? Ah, I apologise for my impertinence, your grace. I was once known as Sergeant Zenith, and I suppose that title carries little weight nowadays. After losing to you, my own men turned on me and threw me into the Oceania Sea. As awful as all that was, looking back, the events saved my life. I heard that all those who went with Louis to the royal palace in the sky never returned.
Left with no choice.
A world where power is everything. Suppose that would be hell after all. Never thought you would ever inspire me to realise anything, yet here we are. Now I'm spending my days doing charity work as a member of the brigade under Chief Magnus. I'll never give up on making my way up in the world on my own merits. In fact, I was invited to participate in the Colosseum's games in Brawlhaven. While working with the brigade, I helped a nobleman who put in a recommendation for me. It's a brave new world, isn't it? Give me a year and I'll make sure that people know the name Zenith as a fighter that electrifies the audience. Wahahaha.
Young man.
Basilio just going ahead and hiring all Louise's old guys.
Welcome.
Ah, Your Majesty, I was wondering who you might be. Still fond of wandering these parts like always. I get it though, I do love the night market myself. Until last year that is, then I began to hate it, no thanks to Louis. It was truly a terrible situation all around, and yet somehow things have recovered. And even I have high hopes they'll be better than ever. So he says.
Say there.
Hey.
Ah, skulking about the city again, are we? Which is to say, Hulkenberg is on the hunt. The classic game of cat and mouse. Who is which, I dare not say. It has been a year since you ascended to the throne, but it's like you've hardly changed. Should I be more pretentious? Forgive me, I'll try and act more like a pretentious git from now on.
No.
Ha! That's rich. With all that royal blood in you is positively wasted, my friend. What are we to do with you? Not that I can talk. I actually came out for a bit of a breather myself.
Even so.
You know, I see now that even those at the top have their struggles. A little too clearly, a general's duties feel overwhelming at times. But there are lives hanging in the balance. I recognise the weight of every decision I make, and I do find satisfaction in protecting those lives. Remember our first meeting back at the recruitment centre? I, a fallen noble with nothing to my name, and you, a struggling elder traveller. Back then, my only goal was getting ahead. My people were a little more than an afterthought. If I hadn't met you, I'd never realised the truth about my fortune, my father's intentions, and I certainly couldn't have saved the Hallians.
Thank you.
I owe seeing joy in their faces thanks to you. I think I've said it before, but again, thank you. This took a pretty serious turn, didn't it?
You.
I pour my heart out in thanks, and that's your response. I suppose I should be glad being royalty hasn't changed you.
Hey.
You've got a whole country on your shoulders now. The road ahead will be full of challenges we can't possibly foresee. Show me the way and I'll blaze the trail, now and always. My role as a warrior to be the vanguard.
That's why.
Our titles may have changed, but I'd like to think our friendship is as steadfast as ever. Don't hesitate to rely on me, now and always.
Say there.
So he says.
My oh my.
Can't overstate how miserable things were because of Louis. But I didn't end up fleeing, perhaps because seeing Your Majesty fight stirred a sense of duty within me. No, there are still many who don't approve of you, but I shall do my part to protect the country you lead. It's my duty as your soldier. I wish the country nothing but the best over the coming year.
May God keep you.
Oh, look who it is. And it isn't His Majesty, Captain of the Royal Guard, looking for you. As a former captain of the Sharandaris, maybe I should report your whereabouts. Can't deny that. Just giving you a hard time. It can be hard to shake the old habits, despite the fact that I'm Captain Salver of the State Army now. Parted ways with Louise shortly after his runner made for a skyborn royal palace. When I saw the horror that Zorba had become, I knew the world he wanted was no world of mine. Thought I found my place within Louise's private forces after being disgusted by the shameless corruption of the royal army, but his true intentions were worse than I could imagine. It was the general who pulled me back in, said my experience leading a force of mixed tribes would be valuable. Only taking the job in hopes of atoning, so it's a strange twist to serve with pride the state army I once so detested. Still, I wonder why he bothered with us.
Lovely, that.
That's something.
What an unexpected coincidence, Your Majesty. No guards with you today? Don't worry, I'm no tattletale. Just myself left a meeting going over how provincial governments are doing. We convened for the new year.
So,
How are things in Matera? It's as lively as it used to be, and we owe it all to you, Your Majesty. That dodgy mess you cleaned up for us feels like ancient history now. And I'm pleased to report, as the head of the Provincial Lords, it's nothing but good news reaching my ears. Better relations between the towns has employment up and overall welfare too. Each town has specialties and wisdom to offer, and when we combine our heads, there's no problem we can't solve. Just feel so blessed to be a part of it. I know I made some blunders when I first stepped into the governor's role, but I had to share my failings so others don't repeat my mistakes.
But of course.
Are things alright now? Indeed they are. The townspeople play an active role in policy and administration, and I'm not bearing that weight alone. Of course, some lords I like were like I was once, and would rather manage things at their sole discretion and leave things to the people. Yes, taking every matter to public opinion can be laborious, what with all the proceedings
Then
and
again.
disputes. Still, changing our own lives with our own hands makes the process worth the trouble.
Brilliant.
Choosing a king of our own will was all the inspiration we needed for
Lovely,
change.
that.
all right then.
Did you really, though?
Lovely.
Amazing.
Hi there.
Well, if it ain't the big man himself, good timing, mate. Just got back to town myself. Long time no see.
Right.
Ain't it been? Been out travelling since I took the reins on the Seekers Recon team. Hard to believe it's been half a year. Crazy doesn't begin to describe what's beyond the sea, the sights, the magic, everything's so fantastic. I'm already itching to get back out there. Well, I'm not especially keen on dodging the bloody cannonballs when my ship gets too close. Lots of tension out there, but what country isn't a little tense? Everything from the customs to the way they think is so different, my head spins. It makes all the tribal bickering seem right dull, if I can speak my mind. This country is changing for the better, and I'm glad I turned over the throne to you. You turned it over to me, did you? Yeah, I knew you'd do right by the purpose, so I bowed out early to give you a fighting chance. Haha, just kidding. All my cohort have found jobs, and some of them have even picked up new skills from being out at sea so
See you
long.
soon, I hope.
Don't you worry your kingly head, I'll have it all whipped up in a report for you. Do something proper kingish with it, yeah? Something proper
Alright then.
kingish.
Amazing.
Lovely.
Oh my god, it's Milo.
Oh.
Majesty, it's already been a year since you ascended to the throne, 1 year since I lost my bid for it. Thinking back, I've no regrets. I've not been able to defeat Louis in the end, as you did. It's candid of you. I don't know what I expected really, but I believe in your power, your majesty, though I'm not acquiesce on all fronts, you know. You needn't look further than your 6 partisans, your merry little band. I can appreciate your faith in your inner circle, but to award them all your key posts, why I once suspect you of a collusion. Country requires reviews from all walks of life, and put another way, why not appoint me as your Prime Minister? With my guidance, Ikronia would become a land of true beauty. Just when you think he's about to make a decent point, he plays his own angle. Don't let your guard down around that guy. Oh, your majesty, it's been quite some time since we met, but I've never forgotten you. You're a young elder about the town and recruitment centre. From the mausoleum, I watched from the shadows. Still times when people hurl abuse on me for being Mustari, however, thanks to your majesty, I can run my business with pride. Just goes to show it's going to take time to eliminate prejudice like that, we've got to keep at it.
My oh my.
Right.
It isn't your majesty, it's been a year since you ascended the throne, a quick one at that. Feels like the strife with Louis was but a bad dream. Had you asked me then, I would have been wrangling my hands about one so young leading the kingdom, but now I'm embarrassed to have thought it.
Oh,
You have a keen eye to recognise the danger Louis posed, and braver still to have fought him. You have a kingly calibre I never truly possessed. Still, a single year is but a drop in the proverbial bucket. Stay vigilant, king. One, 2, 3, 4. Man, there's still 4 left. Plus whatever end sequence bits there are. Plus me wanting to talk about the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it here. We're nearly at half an hour anyway. Can't believe how long the end sequence is, but hey. I need to go and rinse my face a bit anyway, because for some reason I'm itching like crazy. So that is it for now. I'll see you guys. It wasn't the last episode after all. I'll see you guys next time.